base molecular resonance technology, the 30-second overview is that Einstein and Tesla had this theory, and the theory was that we think elements and therefore molecules are giving off some kind of noise, a sound. There's something there, and B.M.R.T. figured out how to listen for that, how to almost like activate that. And so how they describe it is that we can make them sing, and because we know what song they're singing, we can cue in on that song and detect it, pick it up, and therefore identify what you are. And so whether it's an element in the chart, and they've charted every single one of them now, or a molecule, it gives off a different resonance. And they've been able to chart that. And so, for instance, the molecular structure of gunpowder, they've mapped that, they've charted that, they load that into this, looks like a handheld radio almost. They can pick up a .22 caliber bullet at 75 feet.
Wow. Through
a wall. And it sounds, what everyone says is, if that's true, and it's like, yeah, I know, if that's true, they can pick up an M16 magazine loaded at 300 yards through walls and whatever. But at the same time, what's kind of more immediately interesting to me is what they can pick up in terms of cancer and diseases. They can pick up COVID if they want to, whatever you want to load into this thing. And so the great story I love to tell is that they were given a demo of this to potential investors. And so they had a lab slide of like colon cancer or something, and it was colon cancer. And they put it in a bowl of water, a marble bowl, and then they put a marble slab in front of that, and they turn the machine on, and it goes off. Wow. Yep, there's colon cancer right there. Yeah. Threw a marble slab through a bowl in the water. They turned the machine, before they turned it off, they turned it to the left, and it went off again. And the investors are like, oh, too bad, false positive. And they're like, no, it doesn't do that. So they left the room, they went into the room next door, and there were two guys sitting in there, and they said, hey, sorry to bother you, but either of you battling colon cancer? And the one guy, cocked his head and said, maybe. Why are you asking? And he said, well, we've got a device next door that picked up something coming from this direction, and we couldn't see you, so we just don't know. And it's unbelievable, but it's got to be believable what they're picking up and how they can do it. And so disease, explosives, nuclear, whatever it is, you name it, they can, illegal drugs through shipping containers.
So in theory then, if this is true, you could do human remains too then, right? I mean, like for cold cases, couldn't they do that?
Yeah. In fact, what they believe is, and they had an example where a friend of a friend kind of lost a cobra in his home, and he had kids. And so they
First of all, who the fuck has a cobra in there?
I know. Yeah, so you can't make this up. I mean, dude lets a cobra loose in his house. He's got small kids, and so they evacuate the home. And they're like, could you please find this? Is there any way that thing could find where a cobra is in my house? And so they went to the local university, and they said, is there anything peculiar about a cobra, like DNA wise or something, that we could load into this machine? So they loaded in, and minutes they found the cobra. And so what they believe, they've not tried it or tested it, is that yes, if I have your DNA and you're a missing child, abducted, or just a missing person, a soldier who's missing, they can actually find you in a city. They don't even need to be that close. They can say, yep, we're getting a hit in this city right here, and then they start the process of honing in on where that is. Now they've not tested that, but everything is pointing to the fact that yes, you could do that.
Wow, man, that's fascinating. Base molecular resonance technology.
Right.
And what role do you play in that? You're on the board with?
I'm on the board of advisors. Yeah.
For that. Wow, that's amazing.
It's very exciting, and having had a wife that just went through and we believe beat breast cancer, I sure wish we'd have found that out sooner.
Yeah.
And I mean, the possibility exists that you could walk into your doctor's office and they say, "Do you want the cancer scan?"
Yeah.
And they've loaded every kind of cancer into this thing, and it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
And they can say, "Yeah, you do have. Let's try this. And let's only scan for, say, breast cancer," and it goes off and say that doesn't fix it. You need to get checked out. And chances are if you get regular testing, that they're going to pick it up very, very early.
Yeah.
And that's got to be good news.
Yeah. Is that something do you know if that's going to be a common thing? And I mean, or what?
I believe it's going to be common.
Yeah. But what are the obstacles?
The obstacles are getting it commercially available.
Oh, I got
So
you.
we're trying to partner. We've made some big announcements with some investors that have come in, and we just need help getting it to that commercial availability.
Yeah.
So the technology's there. We've got an analog and a digital device, but we're not the smartest, sharpest. So we want help getting it to the next phase, and I think we've got help on the way.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty cool.
All right, so kind of tying together, you got the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as well as the Well House Home. If you could talk about your involvement in both of those and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I think it was a natural thing for me coming out of the Secret Service to look for an outlet where I could have this mission mindset. And, certainly doing consulting and advising in the financial sector it's good, and it's tough. It's a great way to make a living, but the mission set is kind of missing. And so I picked up on that pretty quickly when John Walsh has been a friend ever since we named the what I called the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. Horrible name, but I didn't know better. When the House got it from the Senate, they renamed it, and then we re-blessed it, and it's like, of course, that's a great name. How about we name it after Adam Walsh, who, the abducted, murdered son of John and Rebay Walsh. And so 40 years ago, they created the National Center, and John just never forgot. He's very loyal, he's very appreciative, and so when I stepped out of government service, he said, "Hey, I'm putting you on the board." Well, what he meant was he's going to nominate me for the board, and they're going to unanimously approve you.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that worked. And so I serve on the board of directors there, and I chair the Operations and Law Enforcement Committee. The National Center it's one of my favorite things in the whole world because it really was born out of this need and this mission mindset to fix something and to maintain it. And the staff, the participants in what is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children are some of the finest people in the world.
Yeah.
They do so much with so little.